11:35, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get started if that's okay with everybody. Um, and I just wanted to say welcome and thanks for taking the time to spend a little bit of time in the evening to learn a little bit more about how the auction works and how we're all working really hard to get this out there for you guys. And I had just a few bullet points I wanted to cover first. And then my plan is to show you guys a video that is exactly how to get to the site, how to use it, how to just enter a new item. So I'm hoping people will find that useful. And then afterwards, we'll just do kind of unstructured Q&A and then maybe brainstorm ideas for new auction items, because we could spend forever talking about that. But I got a couple things I just want to make sure I get out there information to share. And the first one, I'll get right into it, is talking about last year's auction. A lot of people had events that they were all set to have in person, and COVID came along. And so we want to just make sure that anybody that maybe you're still waiting for information or you're still not sure what you're going to do, no matter what the condition is, we just want to make sure you've at least reached out to your buyers and that some communication has occurred. Even if it's, I don't know what's going on yet, at least let people know that you haven't forgotten about them. And I'm going to show you guys in the website how to find that online, how to find last year's stuff. So you can, if you misplaced your piece of paper that you got when you were checking out, how to get that back online. So that was the first item I wanted to cover. The other one is talking about these new items that we're going to be encouraging you all to donate. We're not really sure based on the timing whether these events are going to happen in a pre-vaccine or post-vaccine world. So we just wanted to say, try to think about both situations and be ready for either way. So in other words, when you're writing up your descriptions, like one of them's already been done that I saw is like, well, we're going to have a Zoom session unless it's okay to meet in person, and we'll meet in person. So just a little thing like that. Just the idea is be thinking about both ways of doing it. Try to have the most cautious, safe way, and then put that in, and then maybe try to improve if you can. So that was the second point I wanted to cover. Another thing about talking about ideas, on this auction website, I'm going to show you where there's a list of wish list. And these are ideas that have been shared, of ideas of things somebody wishes somebody else would donate, or things they're thinking about doing. We're just going to have a big old list, and we're going to try to keep updating that. And you can always email us at auction@firstucolumbus.org if you either have an idea or have a question or anything. The whole committee's address. It's auction@firstucolumbus.org. The other big thing, this is new this year. Since we're all going to be online with our items, we want to talk about sort of delivery options, or how is the buyer going to get the item or the service. In the in-person world, you didn't really have to give that as much thought. If it's a thing, you got it at the auction. If it's a service, you arrange with a date and you do it afterwards. But now a lot of things, it might be you pick it up from my house, or maybe I'll bring it to your house if it's a thing. We just have to be clear about that. And the idea is that as you write up your description, it's up to you to just say what it is you're going to do as far as the delivery. And to make that easier, I'm going to have a couple of just little check boxes to check for what we think are the two most common ways of doing that. And one is basically we're going to bring it to the church. We're going to have a day where you can pick stuff up. So there's deliver to the church, and then there's the buyer comes and picks it up for me. Like, I'll put it on my front porch. So pick up from my house. Those are two kind of low effort ways. Now, if you want to put in your description, yes, I will drive it to the winner. Great, do that. More people might bid on it, but we don't expect everybody to do that. So just set limits if you need to, and whatever it is, just be clear about it in your description. And a couple more things before the video. That's a good segue about being clear, is if you do have a dated event, unless you really like doing doodle polls, you want to basically set a date, because otherwise it's going to be mayhem trying to get the to be arranged date among all the people who you don't know in advance who it's going to be that win your event. So it's just even though a lot of people think it's kind of hard to pick a date, if you do it ahead of time, you're just saving yourself a lot of grief later. So from past experience, that's what we've learned to suggest for anything more than a couple of people. Like if it's 3, maybe 4 people tops, you can get away with to be arranged. The buyers will figure it out. Any more than that, you should probably just pick a date, and that'll help the right people sign up for it. And then by definition, they already have that date free.
Jim, when we were doing this at the church, you had a calendar showing dates that people had chosen. Are you going to do that again online?
Yep. And when I get to my online part, thank you for reminding me, I'm going to show you the calendar too, so you can see where that is. As long as we're on that topic, when we put in an item that has a date, when it says thank you, we've got your item, it'll also say if somebody else has that same date, it'll tell you that. So if you're the second or third person to pick the same day, you'll know what else is going on that day. And maybe you can decide to pick a different date in case you didn't go look at the calendar proactively to plan. So those are the things I wanted to cover. Basically talking about please contact your buyers from last year if you haven't been in touch. Have a plan A, plan B ready for the COVID, non-COVID version. There's a wish list. Make sure you mention your delivery options in your items and pick your dates. So those were the things I wanted to cover first. And the rest, I'm going to just start this video, and it's going to show you, number one, how to find the website, because that's one of the first questions people ask. And then it's going to go through the process of entering an item. And when it's done, I'll fill in the blanks for anything else, like I'll show you the calendar and all that kind of stuff. So with no further ado, I'm going to pause the recording, and then I'm going to show you the video. So here we go. Okay, so now we just paused, and for the benefit of those who are watching the recorded version, we just showed a recording of how to log in and find the website and put an item in. And we had a question about the picture. You want to repeat that question?
I had a question about how to get into the calendar.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Can you still see my screen?
Sure.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in as myself. And since I made that recording, there's been a few more items added and a few changes. Also, if you have more than one person with the same phone number, you get a list to pick. If it's just one person, it'll go straight in. So I'm going to go in as signed in as me. And up across the top here, there's some links. One of them is calendar. So if you do calendar at the top there's our calendar. And right now, there's not a whole lot of events on there with dates. This is from last year. An event in parentheses is in there from last year. If it's for the current year, there's no mention. And we got the 3 weeks of bidding mentioned here, but nothing else. So that's the calendar. And I think the other question was about the pictures. Let me go back to an item on the catalog here. Since I signed in as myself, I don't have the permission to edit other people's items, but I can go to my statement and add a new item, which I will do. I'm going to donate a new item. And you may have noticed I've changed the categories and simplified them. This is going to go away, and it's just going to be the week 1, let's eat, good stuff, or community. So if I wanted to do that pie, for example, notice I'm mentioning delivery instructions, right? Here's the part that didn't show in the video. When I press the button here to choose the file, it pops up another window on most people's screens. There, in my system, it looks like this, and your system, it might be a little different. But if I had a picture, for example. I know I had one. There it is.
Huh.
That's how I picked it. And then all you see at the initially is just the name of it until you hit save, and then it'll actually show the picture. And here's those check boxes that I was talking about here. There's pick up at my house or pick up at the church. And I'm not sure why they're not checkable. I'll fix that later. I know why, because it'll, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. All right, you have to come back in and do it again. Once it's saved, it knows what category it is, and it'll correctly enable the check boxes. So you have to kind of do that in 2 steps. So I'll say, it says I will bring you. So I wouldn't want to check either one of those 2.
Right.
But if my intention was, you know, you can come pick up, then it would be like that. That's the idea. And when you see the thank you, that's that one. And if I were to pick a date, if I have a dated item or something, and I pick, for example, February, what was it, 7th is one of them, I think, or no, February, yeah, that's one of the days. February 1st was one of them. It should tell me, ooh, I can't do that until it's, okay, for a different reason, you can't do things before the auction. So can't show you what I was going to show you. Dates have to be after the 20th. And I don't have anything conflicting to share to show you that. But that's all I was going to show you. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Barb. I am a totally computer illiterate. So I don't understand what you're doing when you get that picture. It looked to me like it's something you had already
It is.
picked up and put it someplace, and I have no idea. I don't even know how to pick up a picture.
Yeah, I skipped over all that step, didn't I? I'm thinking about a picture that you already have on your computer somewhere.
No.
You press that button.
No, don't have that. Where would I go?
Exactly. So when you hit choose a file right here, you already have to have saved it someplace and know where that place is on your computer in order to, all the auction site knows is how to pick up a file that you have saved. How to get it off your camera and onto your computer is a separate question. And that differs widely depending on all kinds of different things.
You can simply get something off the internet. That's what mine are.
A lot of people do that. Yeah, if you just go to Google, that's how I got that apple pie. Was I went and I suggest this. This is a good way to do that. If you don't have a photo of something, but it's a fairly standard item, you could look at Google Images here, and you'll probably find something yummy, you know. And that's one of those things. If you find a picture that you like this one, let's just say, you can do save image as, and put it in, let's say, either the desktop or downloads are 2 good places to put things. And instead of just calling it images, whatever, I can call it, you know, apple pie slice or something like that. It's a JPEG. And there, it saved it. And then if I go back to, let's go back here. Oops, where is it? Yeah, back to here. I can choose the file. And I put in the desktop here. I put.
Yes.
Well, let me give you an example of what this year I did 2 evenings showing the movie Harriet of Harriet Tubman, and I have a CD. If I take a picture of the front, you know, of the CD showing the movie Harriet, or showing her image there, then how would I get that over to here?
Barb, if I can show you that when the time comes. We can do a Zoom and I'll walk you through it.
Yeah. I would say, in general, if you can find an image already on the web someplace like this, that's the easier way.
There. That's the second one from the left is the picture on the front of the,
Yeah, and so
Right.
you don't have to worry about taking a photo if there's already a photo out there somewhere
oh, okay.
tomorrow.
Right.
So that's the shortcut. We're all about finding ways to make things easy. But yes, if it's a unique item and you need to actually take a picture of it, then yeah, you have to worry about lighting and everything else.
Mhm.
And a lot of it depends on what you're working on too, Barb. For example, if you're working on a computer or if you're working from a tablet, you might have different issues with saving it, but you should be able to save it in either case. It'll just be a little different.
So, okay, let's go back to what we just saw. So there's the image of the front of the CD.
Uh-huh.
What do I do with my computer, with my mouse or whatever, to get that off of there and over to?
Yeah, any
Yeah.
website that you're looking at, whether it's this one here that's specifically image searches or any other website that has a picture on it, like for example, when I click here, this is on some website somewhere that it came from. Anytime you see a picture, you can right click and you can do, usually there's the option that says save image as. Now, depending on what computer you're working on, that can be slightly different, but generally speaking, it'll be some kind of save image. And
Okay.
it'll prompt you to save it as a file like this.
All right, then I use the right click. I didn't know that. See, this is how literate I am. And then I click on it with my right click, and then
Mhm.
I take it someplace else, or I put it save as, and then I put it in my
Yeah, it's up
Word
to you how you organize
documents
your
or something like that.
folders.
So much.
Huh?
Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. So you right click. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we can, if Michael wants to go into more detail on that with you later, that's a great learning opportunity. But
Okay.
for everybody else, I just want to say that once you have the file on your computer, then getting it into the auction page is via that one button here, choose file, and then you choose it, save it, and it makes it really small. Square images work best on auction items because if you notice the grid here of images is
Right.
they're all square.
Okay.
If you pick one that's not square, it'll squish it. Might look funny.
And if you're anybody having difficulty, just email the auction email and one of us will get a hold of you to help you out.
Yeah. I think I'm going to stop sharing pretty soon here unless somebody has a specific question about the auction website.
I
We
do.
can talk generally about items.
Carrie Ann does.
I have a question. I'm good on how I get my items loaded. I got that. I took notes. I'm set. I don't know how to bid on an item.
Yes, we're going to get to that later.
Okay.
What I'll say in the meantime is this is where the buttons will show up right next to this add favorite.
Okay.
I can make a collection of favorites for myself. And then there's one of these items here is my items or my favorites. There it is, favorite items. It'll show up kind of like a category link does. Like I can just show them.
I didn't miss it. You didn't cover it yet.
Right. No, we're going to get to that later. But the general idea is we're going to show the bidding buttons during week 1 for all the food related items. During week 2, there'll be bid buttons for the good stuff. And during week 3, there'll be bid buttons for the community stuff.
Okay.
Great question. Yeah.
Question?
There's also a limitation on bidding. If you go through that process of logging in as a brand new person, you won't be able to bid until I sort of turn you on.
Okay.
So for everybody that's been to the auction in the past, you're cool. You'll be able to bid. But if you're brand new, you don't leave it to the last minute logging in for the first time, because I'll try to keep track of who's been logged in and make sure they're able to bid. It's like a little security step we have to keep people from just randomly signing on and bidding through the roof.
Michael has his hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've dropped our home phone, which is the number on the auction. Can I change it to a new one? Do you have to change it? Do I have to?
Great question. Yes, you can. Let's do it together right now, shall we? What's your old number?
614
Mm-hmm.
898.
And I'm gonna, since it's 614, we're not gonna put that in.
Okay.
It's gonna be 898. Yeah.
5825.
Sorry, didn't hear you.
5825.
And I'm just gonna guess what I
5825.
think that is. Yeah. Okay. And there you are. So that means there'll be three of these that we'll need to do.
Or actually,
Mostly,
it's easy
probably
to
this
know.
one.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll go to your My Statement like this and hit the Edit Profile.
Okay.
And right here is where you can change that to your new phone number that you prefer to use. Maybe I'll do this later because the PIN number will be revealed to everyone. So
Yeah.
we'll be changing that. Even though there's a convention that everybody knows what it is, I shouldn't say on a recorded thing what that is. So
There you go.
we'll talk about that. Even though it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Yep, that's how you do it. Great question.
Okay.
Also, while I'm looking at it, notice here I added a donate button on everybody's statement. That's for after the auction's over. If you want to check out and pay, there's a way to click that button and it should go to the UU Church's donate page.
Donut page.
Drop down list for one of these is going to be auction. Where is it? It's not there now, but it will. When the time comes, they'll turn it on and you'll see auction. So we'll either do that or something very much like that.
I missed the first part of that. How did you get to this? What was the first thing you clicked on?
By clicking on this donate link.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's how we're gonna pay.
Because yeah, when we're not in person, you can't have those checkout computers where you walk up and get a printed copy of your statement. Which, by the way, that's the other topic I wanted to share with you was how do you see what you have for last year? And we're going to use Michael and Donna here as an example. Notice how we signed in. We just came into our statement off of that. Let me do it again. After you sign in, you end up here. And I can either scroll down and use statement right there. Or at the very top, there's my statement up at the top. And that's how you get to this page. This is for your current auction and it's kind of empty. We haven't bought anything yet. And you haven't donated anything yet. But as you do those two things, this is where that'll show up. But check this out. Other years, there's a little box here. So I click that and I can show, now we're on last year's statement. And there doesn't happen to be anything for last year, but if I keep cranking back through history here, oh, there we go. For 2019, these are all the things that you purchased and these are all the things you donated and who signed up for them. So this is your paper statement, except it's online. And everything is a clickable link. So you can email all the people that bought your thing by clicking this link, email all. I won't actually send it, but it'll start up an email. And it's got the correct list of recipients and the name of your item. And you can type a message that you might want to send to them.
That's good if you have unfulfilled things from 2020.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Talk about the offer again option as well while we're on this page.
While we're on this page, yeah, notice whenever you're on an item that's not the current year, there's this little link over here that says offer again. And if I click that link, it'll type in for me all this stuff, will get put in, and then it'll pick the same date, but for the current year. So it'll be like, if this is the, whatever it is, third Saturday in May, it'll be the third Saturday in May in 2021. So it'll do that for you.
Do that if you want. We'll probably do it.
Or the church parking space, I thought maybe it might be something you could demonstrate that with.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd have to, here, let's do that. I'll do that slightly differently. Okay, pretend I just logged in as the UU Church. And here I am, and I can look at previous years. And here's what we did for last year. We have that one, and we have, yeah, lots of neat things. But here's the parking space. And I do want to do that again. So I'm going to just hit offer again. And now it's the current year. And I'm going to offer it again. And you'll always have a space. So you can zoom to the church in your own parking space. I don't know how valuable it's going to be this time around, but we'll see. And we don't have to worry about the pickup options, right? Just hit save. And there we go. Now it's on the current year's 2020 statement.
Oh, great.
Which I'm not on yet, but if I go back over to it, there's 2020. And here's my items. There's my reserve parking space. And this is the current year one. So now it'll be on the front page catalog. There it is. Newest stuff shows up at the front.
Huh.
Yeah. And since I logged in as administrator, I can edit everybody's items. So I'm going to go delete my test pie before I forget.
This is an opinion. Everything I've been reading about the available vaccines, we're not going to be vaccinated adequately for a long time. So I would.
Yeah, as an auction committee, we are intentionally not offering an opinion on that subject. It is everybody's responsibility to be safe and to take in all the current information that is being shared, including from the governor's website, and which I think we have a link to at the very front. There's that website. But you're right. We should probably be really careful about the items that we offer.
Right. Now, this year, I did do the Harriet movie in person. I don't know how else you could do it. Ship off the DVD to people.
You could show it, you could share it on Zoom.
Yeah, you could share it on Zoom. You can share anything that you can put in your computer. Right?
Or you could do something like this with people's pictures on the side. You could be talking about it during or after and chatting about it.
Yep.
Speaking of chatting about it, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so we can have a more of a conversation and see people's pictures easier. Okay. There's
well, I would, if we start getting lower numbers of people sick, I would feel comfortable doing in person again. But boy, we were going to have a bunch of eight of us for Thanksgiving, and we just took the dinner and divided it up and sent it home with everybody in containers, and then had a Zoom conversation afterwards.
Yeah,
we had bought the dinner from the Blackwell Hotel. It's a dinner for 6 to 8 people, turkey dinner. So.
Yep. Yeah, I know a lot of people have done that, and Zoom is pretty amazing at what it can do. But yeah, I haven't yet figured out how to have turkey distributed over Zoom. So
yeah, no, that was no. We brought it home, and then we, with masks and gloves, we divided it up into. Well, there were like 6 or 7 courses, so we had to have 6 or 7 containers for every single family of the 4 families. Kept the rest ourselves, but it was kind of work, and then everybody came and picked it up.
Yeah. I also wanted to note that in the chat, there's been some good comments, including repeating an idea that, if there's anyone with questions, you can always email the auction at firstucolumbus.org is the email. And we're happy to help work through items, work through issues.
Well, frankly, I got the idea on how to do the Thanksgiving dinner from the dinners that we did for the auction.
Yeah.
And we picked up from other people. Our guests were stunned. Let's put it that way.
Well, I've mentioned a few times before Fujio and Susan's offering where they did the sake tasting, but they just made. I thought he made really good use of Zoom because he had a PowerPoint. It wasn't really long or anything, but it was just a few slides and a few um, images of the sake making process, and so it was really neat. And then of course we collected our little samples from him ahead of time so that at the scheduled moment we all had our glasses ready and we could taste sake number 1, sake number 2, and get the flavor profiles and all this kind of stuff and be learning stuff at the same time. So at least before the third or fourth one, we were learning stuff,
Right. Well, they did a Louise Penny dinner that had many courses, and that's where I got the idea of how to do the Thanksgiving dinner when eating together fell through or felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Susan did that tour of the garden. So kudos to that one.
Is that you, Susan O'Donnell? I have to
Yeah.
look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to highlight some neat Zoom ideas or some,
Well,
auction
I could
ideas?
do a tour of my certified national wildlife backyard wildlife, and show people how that works.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think you generate some interest with that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it before is, talk through how you do it. Not just a picture of it, but here's how you do it. If you want to have a backyard wildlife habitat, here's the form and here's what you do. There's 5 things you have to have, and here's pictures of what we have and so on.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
We could talk about different ideas for being COVID safe. Like I remember when we had our event at Alice Freena's condo, it was a buffet style thing, and she had the hand sanitizer. We didn't think of this, but she did, to make sure that everyone used the hand sanitizers before using the utensils to serve yourself at the buffet. So I thought that was a little tidbit that was nice. And then of course we all sat far apart for the eating, and it was early enough in the year that we could be outdoors on her back patio. So you had the outdoor, you had the airflow. Everybody had masks except for when they were actually eating, and we were kind of far apart, and there wasn't that many of us. So you're hitting all those points are each reducing your risk to some degree.
Yeah.
It was also in June, and things are a little bit different right now than in June
They're worse.
or July, but
You can always do a walking tour with your a video on your phone, right? Would that work if Barb wants to walk through her yard, carrying her iPhone and showing people particular plants?
Yeah. That's a good one. And then another thing I'll share, I just learned, as you guys know from the Alice and the Mirror information here, I just learned how to use Zoom to make a recording. When you do the record button at the bottom of your Zoom, you're recording with your phone or your computer or whatever. And then when you stop the meeting, it makes a file, an MP4 file, which you can share with a link. If you try to email it and it's really, really big, you have Google Drive, it'll automatically turn it into a link. So, and there's other systems that do something similar. I used another one called Teams, which I have at work, and it does a little bit better job of backgrounds. If you have one of those Zoom backgrounds.
I don't know how to do that. I had some interviews of applicants to Cornell, and I said, "Oh, you have all these backgrounds of the Cornell campus you can put behind you." I had no idea how to do that.
Yeah, well, it depends a lot on how new your computer is too. Until I got the one I have now, I couldn't even put a background. So
mine's about 3-4 years old, maybe.
Yeah, then you won't be able to put a background.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of Zoom you have too. Because I know I just get a photograph and put behind me. I do it for Spanish class.
Yeah.
Or I do it for my ESL class. Depending on what I'm teaching, I get bored, so I put little things behind me. There they are. They're on
I've
Mars.
actually,
No, or are you on the moon?
Yes.
You're
there you go.
looking back at Earth, are you? And
I was
Janet's
gonna say,
out there.
I've got a personal, yeah, this is a personal photo that I took of my backyard. So
Nice.
Oh, wow. That was that image I just downloaded off the website. At
Oh,
Random
there you are. You
with
get
my pie.
Hi.
you get Jim and the pie. 420 blackbirds baked
Yeah,
in
there you go.
pie, except that it's Jim instead.
So where is that on your Zoom? Where is the background on your Zoom?
You know, Zoom keeps updating and changing, but I found it's under the, like you have a
Video.
thing that says stop video.
Okay.
To the right hand
Oh,
side of it,
over here down in the bottom?
at the bottom, yeah, there's a little arrow next to the
Oh, the one
video
that,
button, and it's got some options there. It's one of them is choose virtual background,
Right.
and then from there, it
oh,
depends on how much you've installed. If you either have some backgrounds already set, or you have to go add one with the little plus button.
mine stop video just puts my name up there instead of my.
That's if you press the stop video button, but to the side of that stop video button, there's a teeny little caret.
Arrow.
And that's a menu.
Oh, okay. Choose
More
virtual
options.
background, video,
Yeah,
video. Oh, okay.
that's how you can do backgrounds.
Susan,
All
are
right.
So
you?
if you're going to do an
gonna-
auction item that involves Zoom, yeah, it's good to learn all these
I'm in
things.
Mexico with the macaws.
Oh, why
Look at
not?
Susan, yeah.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
You could just have so much fun with this. I mean,
Yeah.
meeting over Zoom can be pretty cool.
When we have the Zoom party on the 20th, we can have different backgrounds.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Maybe even according to some theme. I don't know.
Are you going to show us how to bid?
Say again?
Are you going to show us how to bid?
Not tonight. No, I wasn't planning on it. I wanted to keep the focus on, how to get to the website, how to put in items, and the idea that there is going to be bidding, and that's sort of where it is.
I don't like them.
If there's interest, I could show that maybe, but hopefully it's going to be so straightforward, because really I showed you how to log in. Once you're logged in, the rest is pretty easy.
Will we still get emails when we have been outbid?
Oh yeah, that's a fun part. If you put in a bid, maybe I will talk about bidding just a little bit. When you place a bid, you're going to click next to an item that you want to bid on, and it'll ask you how many do you want and how much the price per item is that you want to place your bid at. So like it's a dinner or something and you want 2 places, it'd be like 20 each, not 40, right? If you're doing a bid for 40 that's consisting of 2 20s. So that's important to remember. But then there's a new one this year, I think it was new last year, that's called the hidden maximum. So it will, if you want to put a bid for 20 in, but you really want it to automatically raise to 50, if necessary, you can put the 50 in. And it'll still just look like a bid for 20 until somebody comes along and outbids you for 20. They put in 25, yours will just bump to 25 immediately. And up to whatever limit you set. So there's like a hidden limit.
That's great. I love that.
You don't
Yeah,
have
it's
to
kinda
stand
fun.
at the table and wait till somebody comes up and
Well,
try to
this
do
is
it.
to avoid,
Yeah.
you can't really hover over a bid sheet, online more than one at a time. So this is a way of sort of pre-hovering over a whole bunch of bid sheets that you want. Just program it ahead of time, and the bidding robot will bid for you.
Great. I love it.
I know I missed out on the Friedman's game dinner because I didn't stand there and keep upping my price. I was really upset.
I have been outnumbered by bigger men that just kind of hover around this one thing. And
Yeah, see, this is the equalizer technology here. You
I
all
love it.
have the power to muscle anybody out of the way you want. All you got to do is put a bigger bid in, and you're in charge.
But we wanted to bid on an Ortega table runner, and Courtney stood there and nobody bid at all. I think they were intimidated by him.
Yeah, the bid blocker.
Yeah, he wasn't blocking, he just standing next to it looking.
Yeah.
Well, the last 12 or 24 to 12 hours, when you've got this week that's running, that gives you a chance that last maybe 12 hours to get in there and check.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if it's something you really want.
So
Yeah.
Jim, sometimes, we'll say limit 6 and then 2 more people want it. And then how will the person that's offering the item be contacted to see if they can expand it?
You're right. That's not going to be possible anymore. So there's already a facility on there for +1 OK, and it will do that. So if you have like a lot of people have an even number of seats at their table, and bidders tend to come more often in pairs than in singles. So usually you'll get pairs of bidding that fit up pairs of seats and everything's fine. But sometimes there's one that bids high enough to be in the mix, and then there'd be 2 others who might be the next in line for the bidding, but they only one of them could be seated, and so neither of them will be seated. That's what the +1 OK is for. It's to allow that instead of having 1 too few seats, you'd have 1 too many seats. So
Jim, if somebody wants to see if they can get an additional seat, can they call the offerer, and can the offerer increase his amount?
I wouldn't count on that because that would require communication kind of late in the game. So the +1 OK is a way of sort of pre-asking that question, but it's structured in such a way that it's only 1 +1 OK. And it intentionally, it doesn't take into account who's asking the question. It's just a single and a couple mixing together in the abstract. So you have to decide ahead of time whether you're okay with that. Some people, it's like, nope, I just have this many chairs and we'd be bumping into the walls if we did one more. So it's better to have too few than too many. And that's perfectly fine. Or the other way around is, well, I can always go get a chair and we'll squeeze in, and the more the merrier. But there's a reason you limit it to however many guests you want. That's generally how much space you have. And the idea is the bidding competes to fill that space. Like those who bid higher are the ones that are seated.
And now it's socially distant space.
Yeah, and when I say seated at the table, I mean seated far apart at the outside or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So is it still, I just want to make sure, is it still always the top? If you have, like, I have 4 pies that I can do, so it's the top 4 bidders that get the pie, right?
Yes, but actually, this is a good point to introduce the idea of a fixed price item. If you would prefer not to have your item subject to competitive bidding, if you would rather just say, well, for example, I have a tour of the Swaco dump,
the Swaco.
and there's like whatever it is, 10 or 20 seats on the bus, or some relatively high number. Then when it gets up above 6 or 8 seats, sometimes it's nicer to just have it be fixed price, and you just sign up and you get it, and there's no concept of being outbid. It's just first come, first serve, like a sign up list. And that's usually good for larger quantity items, or if you just want to be more accessible, and have something that's people who can't maybe afford big ticket stuff, you want to make them feel included, you might want to do a fixed price item. And we can do that. So it's up to you how you want to do that. There's all kinds of ideas that we've seen of people coming up with creative auction items.
Jeannie Sperling, were you showing pictures of your vacations? It looked
No,
like
I was attempting to select a virtual background, but when I do, I don't show up. So it isn't, I can't use it with my computer.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
it depends very much on your lighting
St. Mark's
situation.
Square flooding like it is today.
yeah, your lighting matters a lot in terms of how well those virtual backgrounds work.
Yeah.
Susan, you look like that's New Orleans behind you. Is that what that is?
No, that's Playa del Carmen in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a hotel in Playa del Carmen. It's full of art and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, it looks like the stairs in Harry Potter, like going diagonally and moving around there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because of the way it is on the screen.
Okay.
This is
right,
where
well,
I'd
tell you what,
rather be in February.
If we're winding down on auction related topics, I could stop the recording at some point here, and we can still just yak a little bit if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, I would like to hear what other people like. In the past, I've done these wine tasting things where I use a great courses how to taste wine. I've done Brazilian movies. That was back when I was taking Portuguese and taking courses in movies in Portuguese. And, you know, if there were any of those things that sounded still interesting, I could revive my memory of those.
Yeah.
Those all sound good.
Yeah.
As far as bidding on things, Jim, are you going to do something later on regarding bidding and payment? Not tonight, another time. Or do
It's
you
possible. We haven't really decided yet whether we're going to do that or not. We might. There's an appetite for it. Might make just a little video or something and throw it up there. Here's how to bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the videos are helpful, and then people, they might not be able to sit through this whole recording, but at least they can get the beginning. And if you make a recording about, you know, how to pay for your item, how to know if you've won, and how to pay for your item type thing later on. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody could like look for my credit card number as we go through that, you know.
You are going to black that out, aren't you?
Share that with all of us, you know.
I think there's a way to do that, to blur bits of the screen as you're doing it. So I'll have to learn.
Jim, you should put your videos then on the website, and then that way people can just link on them. Don't you think?
I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Sharon, what's your background there you have?
Oh, that's the Florida Keys near Big Pine Key. It's where we would love to be in February, but we aren't going to be. It's Winter Star Party. It's the Miami Astronomical Society. They have a week-long astronomy nerd gathering, and as you can see, it's really beautiful. But
fabulous.
Yeah, not this year. They just canceled, so not that we would have gone anyway, but.
You know, this is a year I was going to take a class at Cornell on Jane Austen in the summer, but.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording right now. So thanks everybody for
Thank you, Jim, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.